Be right with you,
There we go.
Facebook.
Those are the two.
Here we go. Well, good. Finally, Friday morning. It's 5 minutes past 10 o'clock, and it's time for the bums. We forgot to cue up the music. Our hometown movie guys here with us this morning, and we appreciate the fact that they're here to share with us everything that's going on at the Sawmill Movie Theater and ever so much more. Tina, Craig, and Andy with us in the studio. How's everybody doing this morning?
Peachy.
Peachy? Fuzzy, anyway.
Mangoey, man.
Mangoey?
Mangoes.
Oh, mangoes. Okay.
Mangoes.
So, yeah.
We got her talking about Jamaican films today, so.
Oh, man. Yes. So, there goes the neighborhood, yeah. Hey, I tell you, first, to start off with...
Did you bring me my ganja?
No. Sadly, no. But here, have a Twinkie. Anyway, the bottom line is, you were telling me...
I haven't seen you, man. Where you been? Oh, Babylon. What you doing in Babylon? Why they put you there, man?
The rivers of Babylon.
I was carrying a gun.
Apparently, and the only person drinking coffee this morning. Anyway, moving right along, and boy golly, don't you think we ought to? Craig, you mentioned something before going on the air this morning that I think bears repeating, and that is that
More rum.
Yeah, right. We've been talking for a long time about how this has been a really rough year at the theater because of the COVID-19 and all that stuff. But finally, you're back in the black for Jim. That's a good thing.
Yes. Yeah,
I mean, that's a great
very
thing.
good. Very
How are
good.
you, Randy?
I'm still, here in the light. I'm sorry. Anyway, but the bottom line is, I think that's great news because the town can't lose a great theater, especially a theater complex like that. It would be a travesty. So this is good news.
Yes,
And the tragedy-
summer has turned around a bit, so
Yeah.
we're happy about that.
Gotta love it.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And we got some good movies playing right now,
We do. Oh, lots of good stuff.
right? And anything new starting
We
today?
got 2 new ones today.
2 new ones. Two.
Not one, but not 3, but 2.
I think that's a big part of the theater kind of turning around is the product is coming through again.
Right.
Where we're getting 1 or 2 movies a week now that are good films.
Right. And so, what are the 2 new ones today?
Well, the big one I think is going to be Boss Baby 2.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Animated.
Boss Baby 1 was a pretty cool movie.
Yeah, everyone liked that. Yeah, it's an animated
You
PG
actually
for the
saw
kids.
it?
Yeah. I have kids and grandkids,
Oh,
so
true
that some of these things happen whether I want them to or not. But I thought Boss Baby was a pretty funny film.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
And you aren't the only one.
Is that right?
That's right. They spent an astonishing. This is a animated flick, right?
Right.
So they just draw little pictures and then put them up.
Well, you make it sound so easy.
Well, how hard can it be?
I don't know. Try
Barely an inconvenience.
to make one of those movies and then tell me about it.
But he's not working from Auschwitz, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing now is they're not actually drawing individual cells like they used to back when Bambi was made and stuff.
Right.
In the good old days.
Now everything's computer generated. But
Yeah.
anyway, so
But they, for Boss Baby 1, they spent $125 million to make it, which
Wow.
is a ton of money in anybody's book.
and for an animated flick especially.
Yeah, but they brought in 528
Wow,
million.
some serious ROI there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So they made just a ton of money, which explains why there is opening at the Sawmill Theater today, Boss Baby 2.
All right, gotta love it.
And they spent $50 million less to make this movie than they did the old one. So they've wised up.
Huh. That'd be interesting to find out how they managed to trim that much off. If it's something that will be noticeable, or
No, we won't notice it, but all the producers and sub-producers are going to have to get new girlfriends because they won't be able to place them in this movie.
oh well, gotta get a new girlfriend. There you go.
Yeah, some of that might just be using lesser known actors for
Right.
the voices, doing
Well,
things like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who and who are we using?
Okay, in this movie, James Baldwin. Anybody heard of him?
No,
I've heard of the writer James Baldwin, but he's kind of dead.
I've heard of the
This is
Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. I'm sorry.
I've heard of the Baldwin brothers. I
Yeah.
try to forget about most of them
It's
myself.
a metastasizing Baldwin family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, Alec Baldwin. James Marsden.
Oh, yeah.
He played.
Apart.
Yeah, the guy with the laser eyes in the Avengers movies.
Yeah.
Ooh. Sounds like
Cyclops.
Oh, okay.
Cyclops.
Oh, that's DC.
Oh,
Justice League.
that's
Yeah,
DC, I'm sorry.
That's a different superhero.
Eva
Longoria.
Eva
Ooh.
Longoria.
Now, that's one I recognize.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, that one.
Except
where
she's
she
the
can-
voice, right?
She can play any part she wants.
The pretty girls he knows.
Yeah.
Well, I have my
Yeah.
priorities here.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, there you go.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Jimmy Kimmel.
Another pretty girl, Lisa Kudrow.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Friends fame.
Well, and also, didn't she do Romy and Michelle's?
She certainly did.
Oh, one of my all-time favorite
A
chick
lovely
flicks.
movie.
I love that movie. Yeah.
Well, Romy and Michelle's high school
I love
reunion.
that.
High school
Coffee.
reunion, right, where they invented Post-its.
Yeah, that was so funny. That really was a great
Yeah.
movie. And rounding out the famous and near famous, Jeff Goldblum.
Wow.
Oh.
They do have
Jeff,
some
Gold,
big names in this.
Jeff Goldblum, you'll remember from the most recent version of The Fly.
Oh, yeah,
Really?
he was
No,
just amazing with Gina Davis.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, that's a scary movie. Yeah.
Better, let's go to a segue here.
Okay, segue.
Jeff Goldblum, also in Independence Day,
Oh,
dude,
very
wow.
good.
which is playing tomorrow at Sawmill Theater.
The
Yes.
classic
Wow.
movie Saturday, first Saturday of the month.
Yes.
10 a.m. tomorrow.
Be
And-
there or be square.
And there's nothing quite as gratifying as punching an alien in the face.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
Will Smith one.
Will Smith.
Yeah.
1990, 25 years ago.
I can't believe it's been 25 years already, quarter century. And you know, that movie is still, when it comes up on TV and stuff like that, I've watched it. I'd like to maybe check that out tomorrow because it's an interesting mix. I mean, it's kind of exciting. It's got some, hair-raising moments, but there's great comedy throughout the whole thing.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful, very entertaining mix. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
It's only $5.
Yeah, $5.
Yeah.
And so you got plenty of extra money to buy all kinds of stuff at the concession
Yes,
stand.
perfect.
Gotta love it. And that's tomorrow morning at what time?
Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
$5, $5.
Just the one show.
Yep,
Yep.
I got a new thing too. They take my bag of popcorn and I take a whole box of Milk Duds and I mix it into the bag of popcorn. So when I reach in, I never quite know what I'm gonna get. Could be sweet, could be salty.
Is that a metaphor for your life?
Yes, never know.
Life is like a bag of popcorn and Milk Duds.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I always thought they should have used line, life is like a box of chocolates. Some of them have nuts inside. Some of them are nuts inside, probably would be the right way to say that.
I mean, you were just
Are you talking about the federal government again?
you're just a discouraging word this morning. Everybody else is so happy.
Seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies today will be cloudy all day.
I got rains on my windshield
Yeah, me too.
just a few minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
Been raining down in Tonto Basin all morning, and
Oh,
looking at
congratulations
the
to
radar,
Tonto Basin.
it's coming up this way. We had over a half inch last night.
Yay!
It's good stuff. So bring it on. Anyway, so
How'd you get to work? Oh, you got that big tall truck, don't you?
yes, I do.
You just go right across the floodwaters. Mean
Actually,
nothing.
the creek wasn't even flowing this morning. It had a few puddles in it, and that's it. I think everything was so dry that everything just soaked in. Wow.
Super easy. Barely an inconvenience.
Barely an inconvenience, yes. All right, so classic movie Saturday tomorrow. We have 2 new movies that we've talked about. We did talk about both of them for today. No, we didn't
Just
talk.
one.
Okay, what's the other
Second one, Purge.
Oh.
The Forever Purge.
Oh, this is where for what one day or something like that, everybody can do all kinds of icky things. And get away with it.
Yeah, it's kind of I guess a semi-utopian society where there's no crime or violence except for one day out of the year where everyone can just go crazy. They suspend
Where
all.
they defund the police, right?
They suspend all crime or all sanctions. Yes. So you can just go hog wild and burn buildings down and kill people and you just basically purge. You get it all out in one day and then everyone goes back to normal.
That sounds like a good day to be out of town.
Or
Yeah.
to live out your fantasies.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have those kind of fantasies.
They're-
Never
You
wear
love me.
rings.
Based on her shirt, I think she does.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're kind of they sound a little bit senseless, but they have a lot of kind of social commentary in them too. I mean, the super wealthy people all have these homes with big metal doors on them, and
Moats,
so for that 24 hours they just kind of lock themselves down, and they
Right.
they're all safe and sound, and everyone else has to kind of fend for themselves.
And so now, this is just hitting all the theaters today.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and what have we heard much about this in advance as far as, who made the movie?
This is a Universal film.
Oh, Universal.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah. So,
Any big names in it?
no.
You know what this reminds me of? I think we may have talked about this. A short story that we read in high school, it's been around for a long time, by Shirley Jackson, called The Lottery, in which a small town of lovely people, everything is groovy, they are all so civilized and nice, but once a year they get together and they draw straws, and one lucky person is the winner, and he's stoned to death.
Yeah.
Just because. And that's,
They do a lot of-
it's
you know,
kind of like that
the
sort of.
Hunger Games was, they
Yeah,
kinda,
like that too.
where they try to, bypass violence by
Mhm.
just condensing it into one day or one event or.
Right.
Here, get your violent fix.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, need to say, we have, by the way, for folks that are listening on the radio, we're also coming to you live simultaneously on Facebook Live. And Francine on there says, love our theater. Craig, we want it back open 7 days a week. So I guess one of the
Yay.
easiest ways, make sure you come on down and
Yeah,
watch some of these movies.
that's-
Come to the movies and make it happen.
We're kind of borderline on that one right now, I think.
Oh, cool.
We're getting close.
Sounds like we're getting back.
Yeah, maybe we can get that going.
Cool.
Yay.
And by the way, good morning to Ned, too. Thanks for watching.
Francine, a good way to help with that project is, for instance, this week we have 2 new movies. So round up some little kids, come out and see Boss Baby 2, which will be fun. And then round up a different day, come out and round up some grown-ups who don't mind violence porn or gore porn, and come out and watch The Purge, watch people kill each other.
I've never heard that put quite
And
that
go
way.
to
but-
Independence Day tomorrow
Oh,
at
yeah.
10.
For $5 at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, super
Gotta love
good,
it.
super good.
And, well,
You can come 3 times this week, Francine.
wow, there you go.
Yeah.
And anyway, we have more and more people watching us online, so join us there. And if you have a point of view you'd like to share or whatever, let us know. By the way, Francine just said, I plan on it for sure.
Oh, good for
Oh, thank you.
Danka.
I like Francis a lot more suddenly,
Yeah.
or Francine rather. So now, those are the 2, we talked about the 2 new movies that start today. What else is rounding out the slate this week?
Well, the big one you got to talk about is Fast and Furious.
The 9th iteration of
Ninth
that.
one and still going strong.
And they're making tons of money off each of these
They are. Oh yeah, these things do. I think it's about 300 million overseas. It's made.
already.
Last weekend it opened to 70 million in the States. For
70 million in a weekend.
in 3 days.
You know, I'm
Yeah,
in the wrong line of work,
that's and that is actually still a little bit low.
right?
Normal times would probably expect maybe twice that.
Hmm.
But 70 million is by far the biggest weekend any movie's had since the stuff.
The stuff.
The,
This COVID
the
crud.
crud.
Yeah.
That's the crud.
Well, anyway, so
People like the Fast and Furious movies.
and as we've talked many times, I mean, it's kind of like one of these guilty pleasure things. The last one I found myself watching, and I kept thinking to myself, "This is dumb. This is ridiculous. There's no way this could ever, happen." But I kept watching. I was thoroughly entertained by
It's
it.
strangely entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this one, they send a Pontiac Fiero into outer space
Be a good place for one of those.
with a couple of guys in it.
I'm not a big Pontiac fan. Sorry.
But I mean, it's just, yeah,
I mean, come on.
as Craig has pointed out, it doesn't matter how over the top or silly or unconnected to the realities of physics or anything else these movies get. They are just wildly fun to watch.
Right.
I mean, I watched this thing and I'm a hard-nosed movie critic, and I was just laughing. There's stuff in there that is,
It's outrageous.
yeah, you just go, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. Look at that. Oh,
Right.
Edna, look.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go in there and take it seriously.
Yeah.
You're just.
But it is wildly entertaining.
Yes, if you try to take it seriously, you are going to be terribly disappointed. Just.
Yeah, but if you try to take it seriously, you're kind of an idiot to begin with. Right?
It's not. Yeah.
But I mean that
Here
kindly,
endeth
of
her
course.
lesson for today. That's
Think
right.
of it as an alternate universe where physics work differently.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can understand. All right.
Believe the science.
All right, so we have the 9th iteration of Fast and Furious also playing, and what else?
Now, let's see. We still have Peter Rabbit.
Peter Rabbit. That's
Yeah,
good
Peter
for the
Rabbit
kids.
2.
Yes.
That's an animated, or is it? It's
The rabbits and everything are CGI, and then there's
There's real people.
also. Yeah, kind of that mix they do, which
right.
they've really gotten good at. It looks. Yeah,
They pulled that off really good with that one other. What was the movie with the rabbit?
That's right.
Oh, Harvey.
It was the other
No,
rabbit.
no.
I'm dating myself, right?
It's who murdered Roger
Roger
Rabbit?
Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was a good mix of
Oh, wow.
CGI and real.
Yeah, that was like the first
That was
one.
a really good movie.
Yeah, no, they're much better.
Bob
at it.
Hoskins, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that
that
was
was
good.
really
But I mean, that's
good.
that's got to be kind of a weird thing to figure out. Okay, now you're going to need to look down at a 45-degree angle, and then we're going to put in the CGI, animal talking to you, and you got to make it, seem believable.
Sure,
That's got to
sure.
be a really interesting challenge for the actors.
Oh, definitely.
They
As-
hire
as-
professionals to do
that
that.
explains it.
No, yeah. Well, like
Yeah.
Tina said, in Roger Rabbit, it was
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins,
Yeah.
who's
The late great.
very accomplished actor,
Yeah.
right? And it is super easy for somebody.
Barely did.
Barely.
For,
But I
Stop.
mean, even for the character generation things, I mean, to get all that angle and everything just right, I mean, there's a lot of tedious work there.
Yeah, but I mean, these guys are I think, in my opinion, that actors are capable of doing an awful lot more than
Then politics,
they're asked
Oh,
to
sorry.
than they're asked to do.
right?
Well, and in politics, an awful lot less.
In most movies, that they don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting.
Right.
But I think any professional, any actor that you've ever heard of is capable of doing Hamlet that in such a way that would bring you to tears. That, in my opinion, they're just not tasked with doing that.
Okay.
Well, I think it depends on the actor. I mean, yeah,
Well, I
really.
think
I mean,
Alex Baldwin can do stuff that would amaze you if they ask him to do it. Usually,
Yeah, but I'm thinking,
usually
John,
they don't.
I'm thinking John Kerry doing Hamlet. I'm
well,
having a hard time visioning.
Alec Baldwin was in a great movie that hardly anybody's seen except me, which I love. It's called Looking for Richard. And it's Richard III with Al Pacino, and Alec Baldwin is in it, and he's great. And Winona Ryder, and it's a rendition of Richard III, Shakespeare's Richard III, showing the actors preparing for it. So it goes back and forth between the actual play and the preparation. It's absolutely fabulous.
Very interesting.
Right.
All right, now, so we still have a couple more movies that we haven't talked about yet that are currently playing at the Sawmill
Yes.
Theaters.
Well, we mentioned Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Right.
Real quick, that one with Ryan Reynolds, Samuel Jackson.
And that's been doing pretty well, hasn't
Salma
it?
Hayek. Yes, it has. It's a comedy, definitely R-rated.
Right.
Yeah.
So some body language, stuff
A
like
lot of
that.
language, a lot of things getting blown up.
Yeah, a lot of dead people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But hey, other than that, great fun.
Yes.
And Samuel L. Jackson,
Yeah.
generally speaking, kind of plays Samuel L. Jackson, but
But he's right up there with Kevin Bacon. I mean, he's been in, which one of them have been in more movies?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably Samuel L. Jackson. He's been in over 200 movies.
He's in every movie.
You may not know it, but he's that guy over there.
Every once in a while, he is tasked with doing an actual acting job,
Mhm.
and he's capable of
He's
doing
very
it.
good.
Yeah.
He is,
Yeah.
and he is a very, very good actor who is never really, at least not lately, asked to do very much.
There you go.
Hey,
By the way, good morning to Christy, who's watching us on Facebook Live. Appreciate
Christy.
it.
Hey, we got Samuel Jackson. Another segue.
Oh.
Next week, next Friday is Black Widow.
Sammy
they-
Jackson's in that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
Does
see,
he play
yeah,
the guy with the eye patch?
Yeah, Nick Fury. Yeah,
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
That's a
Yes.
name to reckon
This
with.
will be a return of this is kind of an origin story for
Unless you're
Black
Plymouth
Widow.
Fury.
So we're back into an Avengers film for the first time in 2 years.
Wow, has it been that long?
Since they blew up the universe
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
stuck it back together with
2019.
super glue.
Yeah, we saw Wonder Woman around Christmas time, but yeah, we haven't really had any of the superhero stuff has all been delayed again because of the crud.
Right. All right, and we have one more movie that we haven't talked
No,
about yet?
I think it's
That's
it.
it.
Queen Bees.
Oh, Queen Bee.
Queenie's is, I don't read it, kind of mentioned.
Yeah.
By the way, Christopher Lloyd was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and he is also in Queen Bees.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Now,
he
Queen
was
Bee's-
also in Back to the Future.
Queen Bee sounds like another. Again, I'm overdue for a good comedy, and it sounds like that this is going to be
Everyone's really liking it.
a good gut buster.
And Margaret and
Oh,
Jane Curtin.
Jane Curtin's
Jane
in it.
Curtin, yeah.
Now,
James Caan is in
What's
it.
this
Yeah.
rated?
It's a PG-13.
PG. Okay, so it's you could take your
Nah,
teenage kids maybe.
I don't know how they'd like it, but
No, you don't.
you could take them. But
See, you're saying that they're not going to dig on geriatric humor, or what?
You should. It's an
Well, it
historic
depends.
lesson. For
Here's
them.
what you have in store, kids. This is where it's all going. Well, that makes sense.
let them enjoy life now.
Or else, right?
before the reality all
Yes,
comes in.
yes.
I hear you. We had all of a sudden the weather started coming in here. Sorry about that. Didn't mean for that to happen. It just those things happen sometimes.
Yeah, that just happened.
My fingers just keep touching things here. So now one of the things that we need to mention here real quick. I know Craig, you need to go here at the bottom of the hour. We're going to continue on Facebook Live and keep talking, but. One of the other things we wanted to touch on real quick is, we mentioned that tomorrow is the first Saturday of the month, so it's the classic movie Saturday, and you're going to be showing Independence Day. Are you still doing the faith-based film thing once a month?
Yeah.
We are, yes. That's the third Saturday of each month.
Right, and what's coming up this month with that?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen that many times. Never from my wife.
Wait,
Anyway.
it's right there on the window.
Oh, it's right there. It's facing the other way.
Yeah, right, I know.
Oh, well. At any rate,
We'll
you
get back to you next week with that one.
and
Yeah.
you can go online and find out these things probably by
Yes.
going to sawmilltheaters.com, find out what's
Sawmilltheaters.com.
playing, when it's playing, and all that good stuff.
Yep, everything's on there.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Craig, we know you got to get back to the theater. We're going to keep on talking, and we've got a kind of an interesting little theme to talk about this morning. And give us the Reader's Digest condensed version of how exciting this theme is, Andy.
7.
Oh, 7. Okay. On a scale of 1 to a zillion, or what? Oh, okay. 1 to 10. All right. No, anyway, so we're going to be talking this morning about. Somebody give me a straight answer here, because I forgot what we said we were going to talk about.
I do too. I like
Yeah, this geriatric stuff it's not easy.
Specialty movies.
Specialty movies.
Specialty events at the Sawmill Theater.
Yes,
okay, that's one of the
yes.
things, yeah.
All the wonderful things that Craig and his team do for the community and for all of us who love movies.
That's right. And we got to get out there and help support them,
Yep.
keep them rolling.
Yep.
And we're going to continue talking about this on Facebook Live, so join us there. Meanwhile, here on KRIM, we're going to get you back to more of your favorite music, have some tunes coming up.
Hi, Nicole.
Robert Palmer,
Hi,
Journey,
Nicole.
Steely Dan,
Robert
Grateful Dead, and
Palmer.
more. But first, a quick
Yeah.
look at RIM Country
We were
weather.
just talking about Robert. All right, party on here.
And Randy, there's gives you the NATO.
Yeah.
It's also the North American Theater Owners Association.
No
Hey-o,
way.
really?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I love
That's
it.
not who I got this shirt.
No, I didn't think so.
Craig,
That's a cool
can
shirt.
you look and see what the
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. We should put it facing this way too.
We'll find out in just a moment.
Yeah.
Are we on the air again?
Yeah, we are with Facebook, not with the radio.
Hi, Facebook.
Hi.
All right.
Looks like Luther.
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 I think
Really?
I believe that's Martin.
Martin Luther?
Oh my
Martin
gosh,
Luther,
that's
yes,
the
yes.
one with Joseph Fiennes?
I don't know. The print's
think-
kind of dark in there. I can't really see.
You have a picture of
Oh,
somebody
man.
nailing a thesis to a wall or anything?
Oh man, that is really, if that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is, but yeah, that's what it is.
Dang.
Cool. All right.
Oh, that's one of my
We'll see you guys.
favorites.
All right, see ya.
Gotta see that.
All right, so as we mentioned, Sawmill Theaters does so much all the time in some really amazing ways, in that they've done different fundraisers for very worthy causes, and it seems like they're always
Well, we
out there
just-
helping. In
Yeah,
big
we
ways.
just had one for, when I say we, I spend so much time at the theater that I think that I'm actually a part of the theater, but no, I'm not. I'm just some guy that goes to the movies there. But the Sawmill Theater most recently sponsored an activity for the support of the veterans. This is back for around Memorial Day. And really great turnout. We showed, or there I go again. Craig showed The Longest Day, which I hadn't
Ooh,
seen
yeah.
in years
Oh.
and years and years
What
and
an
years.
amazing
And
movie.
it's, some
Yeah.
people call it the longest movie, but it was really good. It was just a great movie. a great event, and the proceeds went to support our local veterans right here in Rim country. And he does that more or less constantly. There's always something going on at the Sawmill Theater. And folks, if you're ever free on a Saturday morning, check the schedule. There may be something going on. It might not be a charity event like the Veterans function was. It may be just the faith-based movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably important for I want to say for the benefit of our souls, but I think for the benefit of society, to participate in when they have a movie that is not destined to be out in kind of general release, like for instance this month it'll be Luther.
Mm-hmm.
It's the story of Martin Luther. A major Hollywood production. I mean, this isn't some little.
How long ago did this come out?
2003.
I don't think I've seen this one.
Yeah, well, it's Joseph Fiennes, who is the brother of Ralph Fiennes. They're both British actors. Their
Well, it's
names-
Old Man Fiennes' kid.
Yeah,
That's right.
Their names are not spelled the way they're pronounced, but I am pronouncing them correctly after
Is that one of those F-E-I-G?
Yeah, F-I-E-N-E-S, right.
Okay.
And-
Fiennes.
Yeah, Fiennes. Yeah, but I tell you, what a great movie. It was actually produced, I believe, by Thrivent, which is the financial arm of the
Lutheran Church, yes.
The Lutheran Church. Very, very accurate. The story of Luther is just an amazing.
And I mean, he's nailing his thesis to the door. I mean, talk about having a suddenly less than stellar reputation with the Catholic Church.
Well, he was a Catholic monk.
Yeah, but
And-
then everything
and
changed.
but if you think about it, he went up against the whole Western world.
I mean, that Reformation, that's a huge story.
Huge.
Yeah.
And he should have been dead 100 times over because he was chased and hounded and kept moving around, but there were people who protected him. And also remember, he was the one who translated the Bible into German for the common people. It had only been Latin, and it was only meant to be read by the foo-foo people of the Catholic Church so that they would interpret for the common people. And he brought the Bible to the common
No
people.
need for the commoners to actually learn to read, much less
Yes,
to read the Bible.
Right, and then in conjunction with Gutenberg, who was also German, with the printing press, the
Right.
idea that the Bible could actually be produced for people to read rather than being, handwritten by, the esoteric monks. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And what about those hairdos?
And
Sorry.
yeah, and Luther might properly be referred to as Dr. Luther,
Yes,
because he had a doctorate from the university in religion,
right.
and so when he started translating,
Mhm.
and he came across something that was at odds with the teachings of the Catholic Church at that time. He had the education
Mhm.
to understand what he was talking about
Mhm.
and to write about it. He was a
He
tremendously
spoke Greek. I mean, he
Oh,
was
yeah.
able to go back to the original language.
and Hebrew.
And Hebrew, right. I mean, the man was prodigiously brilliant.
And it's kind of like Stephen King in that if there was
There's a stretch.
if
Yo!
if there was a piece of paper around him someplace, he would
Yeah.
fill it up.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
He
Yeah.
has an enormous body of his writings,
Right.
and it's all about the intricacies of Christian interpreting Christian doctrine.
I had an amazing opportunity, golly, this was probably better part of 10 years ago. I had worked for an organization called the Slavic Gospel Association. It's based out of Budapest, Hungary. And a guy by the name of Joseph Baranyi had grown up in Budapest, and when the Nazis came in the Second World War, he, long story, it's a bunch of tragedy, I'll spare you the details, but long story short, he and his soon-to-be wife fled Hungary and went through all of these other countries before he came down to Morocco and became the voice of Trans World Radio, beaming the gospel back into the former Soviet Union. And first of all, going around Budapest with him, we'd be out for dinner at night, and people at tables nearby would stop, and they'd be looking. It was like, it's that voice. It's that voice we heard. You know, and so you know, and you see this amazing connection happening.
Yeah.
But this whole symposium over the course of a few days that I was invited to speak at culminated, and then the government of Hungary treated us to a 3-day tour all over Hungary, starting in their parliament building, which is amazing, and then to finally get to the point, we had lunch one day at an old Lutheran church out in the middle of nowhere that was famous because there was some famous, I think it was like maybe one of their first kings, had been injured and was traveling aimlessly and came across this little monastery of sorts, and they were well known for making wine there, and they nursed him back to health and gave him wine and food, and so when we were there, we also were treated to, they had a huge steel kettle on the fire outside of true Hungarian goulash, which is nothing like what my mom used to call goulash. That was like, well, we got some crud left over here, throw it in the bowl, that's goulash. Real goulash isn't like that. But the really good stuff, the really fun part too, is we had a couple of the people that were editors on the NIV Study Bible that were part of our contingent. And some of them, they're older folks at the time, they were up in the front talking about things they like to talk about. I was in the back of the bus talking to younger folks, talking about the things younger folks talk about. And, and we were maybe a little louder and more raucous than the conservatives up in the front. But when we stopped at this church, and all of a sudden there was these big glasses of wine being poured, the wine that they made there. And there's a lot of people there that weren't really wine drinkers, but they felt like, well, we didn't want to offend anyone. And so we all had our wine and goulash, and we got back on the bus to go to the next stop. And all of a sudden, all those old codgers up in the front of the bus were making all kinds of racket. They were having a great time. And we also went to a 1,000-year-old monastery, and downstairs is where the first king of Hungary is buried, and they have a headstone in the floor there. It's just fascinating.
Yeah.
And the other thing to finally finish making the point out of this is at that monastery, they had a huge library full of old books, old handwritten books. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of years old. And as Joseph opened the door to walk into the library, he just opened up and he goes, stop. He goes, smell.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's the smell of history. And it's just the smell of all these old writings and everything, old books. It was a really cool kind of musty odor.
It is. I mean, when I was a kid and I was living in Hawaii with my family in the 50s, early 50s, my step-grandmother collected first editions of old books, and I used to sleep in the library, and I remember that smell. That it's just a very comforting, paper books.
Right.
I know people are all about their Kindles. I'm all about paper books.
And one other quick thing from that trip, foie gras. You ever had foie gras?
Foie gras?
Foie gras.
Oh, foie gras. Yeah. Goose liver.
Goose liver pate.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
I spent time in France.
You
know how they make it.
They were
right?
It's very inhumane and not a good thing.
It's horrible, but you know what? It tastes good.
But they were trying to get me to taste this at this Hungarian restaurant one night, and I was telling Joseph, no, me and liver, we don't get along. Oh, you have to. It's like, no, I don't.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, he was persistent, and
you had some?
he made me eat some of this foie
And
gras.
it was good.
And then I ate the rest of it.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
But as long as you don't, just don't read about how they come up with that
It's
stuff.
not foie gras, it's foie gras.
My mouth doesn't move that way.
Yes.
Anyway.
But the French are known for, yes.
So we got off on a tangent here, but
anyway,
having been raised in the Lutheran church myself, I'm
And
very interested to see what.
I think you ought to go.
I think you ought to go.
People have been telling me to go for a long time.
I think you ought to go to see Luther.
Oh, you mean go to the movie?
Yeah.
And when is that again?
It's the third Saturday of July.
Third Saturday, okay. Interesting. I might just have to do that.
And we really need to get all the folks from the different Lutheran churches, particularly, to really support
Good-
that.
oh, good point, yeah.
Well, I mean, for that matter, a lot of the other churches too. I mean, just because Luther, his name is associated with the Lutheran Church. I mean, that Reformation, kind of changed the landscape for many
Totally.
denominations.
Totally, yeah.
And who knows, maybe had the Catholics kind of, straighten up a little bit too. Nothing against Catholics. It's all good.
We all work together.
That's right.
Yeah. So some of the other things that.
But don't you think, I mean, just in a kind of a sincere way, don't
Kind
you-
of, or really?
No, really.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think, if you're gonna go to the movies this month, it might be a good time to go see Luther
Yes.
and just to kind of set the cosmic balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are a lot of people, not maybe any of us, but there are a lot of people who are gonna go see The Purge Never Ending.
Yeah.
And watch people murder one another
Yeah.
for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a particular kind of thing to get into your brain. And then
So,
to
good way to put that.
to see this other thing and some good history. The Reformation was really important for Western history.
Yes.
And to help understand it a little better, it's well worth an hour and a half or so to.
I think it'd be fascinating. And you mentioned, Tina,
Plus you
that-
get
that-
popcorn.
that you thought- popcorn too. Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you thought historically pretty accurate. Wasn't
Well,
a lot
no,
of
it
extra
is.
theatrics and stuff
No,
like
it
that.
was made, again,
made by the Lutheran
funded by
Church.
the Lutheran Church. And really, a lot of what happened to Luther was truly miraculous. He should have been dead, and there were people, like I said, who protected him. He went from place to place and managed to do this translation of the Bible. I think it took him 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
By the way, Joseph Barani, that I told you about,
Mhm.
he and the Slavic Gospel Association translated the NIV Study Bible into Hungarian, and that hadn't happened before.
And a good word for Hungary right now. They are really an amazing country.
Truly.
They have put the kibosh on transgenderism. They have put the kibosh on all kinds of sort of critical race theory. They're trying to maintain Western Judeo-Christian culture.
And conservatism.
Yes, and they're very, very adamant about not caving into the idiocy.
I've also had another project, was able to go all around Romania right next door
right.
at length and got to know a number of government officials there. Quite a bit the same sort of
Yeah.
focus in
Yeah.
that area. That's a wonderful part of the world. If you ever have a chance, especially Bucharest, Romania, wow, I highly recommend it. Old Town
and they-
Bucharest is
They
amazing.
were under the heavy boot heel of the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
so they're very anti-communism.
Yeah.
The idea that socialism, we've never really done it properly. We can do it the new, improved, warm and fuzzy socialism. They're like,
Okay.
nah.
Now that means I have to tell one more quick story. You may notice I got this
Doesn't?
this weird
No.
NATO. It does in my book. I got this weird NATO shirt on today. I did some consulting work with NATO, and the idea. This was a few years back. This was when Russia was still a member of NATO for that brief period of time, and this whole endeavor in Brussels was to bring together all of these different European countries to talk about doing a continent-wide telemedicine network for use in disasters. And the problem is that in one country was using a point-to-point telemedicine solution, another one was doing a cloud-based telemedicine solution, so that if there was a regional disaster, none of them could actually functionally communicate with telemedicine. And so our task was to get together and figure out how to put all this together. Funny story, first morning session there, the Russians and the Romanians were just busy giving each other, significantly evil eyes. You could tell that, you could cut the tension in the room with a knife.
Yeah.
And so we went through this whole morning, and I was thinking, man, we're not getting anywhere. No one wants to talk. Everyone's acting kind of, bent. And so at a break, I walked over. There's this Russian general standing there, and I walked over and I said, I'm curious. when I was in Romania recently, they treated me to a thing called Polinka, which is a plum whiskey, and and you could see the Romanians kind of like, yeah, we make plum whiskey. And I said, but you're from Russia, and I've always been intrigued. What's the best vodka in the world? And this guy looked like Brezhnev. He's a big meaty face and everything. He goes, oh, best vodka in the world is Beluga. I said, well, I've heard of Beluga caviar. I didn't realize there was a Beluga vodka. And he says, yeah, I think that's the best.
Well, yeah.
And we were supposed to, our next meeting was supposed to be in Moscow, in a few months. And he goes, when you come to Moscow, you and I, we'll sit down and we'll drink, Beluga vodka. And I'm thinking, well, that'd be kind of fun, just out of a strange sense of, weirdness. And then it was just shortly after our meetings there that Russia invaded the Ukraine and got kicked out of the NATO. And so I never had my trip to Moscow, but
That's a tragedy. We need to make a movie about this.
it's a sad story. Yeah. But I guess the point out of all that though is that you could really, the glares that were going back and forth. These people genuinely hated each other because of who you represent. And of course over there, that's perhaps a little bit different twist than what we've got going on here. I personally hate all the political correctness here myself, but that's just me.
I don't hate anybody. I love everybody.
It's barely an inconvenience.
Oh. Gag me with a fork.
With a garden rake.
Right. Right.
Anyway.
Okay, so what the theater does for the community.
Well, that's right. We're talking about the theater today, right?
Yes. And
We are.
We're trying.
I'm all over the place.
Really? Yeah, the theater does so much. It does charity events. It does, brings movies to our town that wouldn't normally be seen on the big screen.
Right.
And if you think about the classic movie, before the pandemic or whatever it is, we had some amazing. We had Blazing Saddles. How many times do you get to see that at all, especially on the big screen?
Yeah, because there's so many people that would just
Yeah.
be offended with even thinking about that.
Yeah.
I'd love to go see Blazing Saddles.
Well,
We had it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
it was there.
I went and saw it.
I saw it.
I was at home eating beans around the campfire.
Yeah.
I went to see Blazing Saddles, and of course it's just crazy and great fun. And a couple of people got up and left because
They didn't know what they were in for.
well,
Seriously?
I guess not. But
Yeah.
it is not PC whatsoever.
Oh, no.
Well, none of Mel Brooks is PC, which is why we love him. I just read a little.
But we love him because he's funny.
He's funny, and I just read a little thing about him on Facebook. Comes up, for birthdays for different people, and he just recently had a birthday.
He's 90-some years old.
Oh
now,
yeah, and he was apparently the story of the producers, which is another classic, Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder. Where they sing "Springtime for Hitler."
Right.
Yeah.
These guys are movie producers and or play producers, I guess.
Right,
And
on
scammers.
Broadway,
On
right,
Broadway.
right.
And I'm not sure if those it isn't redundant to say producers and scammers, but
Well,
these guys certainly were scammers.
But what the backstory apparently is that Mel Brooks, when he was a kid, living in New York, he knew people who were actually doing what they did in the movie, which was court these little old ladies. Just scandalously, get them to invest money in these productions, and then the productions would fold, and they would get to keep the money. And the whole idea is, you don't want it to succeed because you want it to fold, so there's money to be kept. But the thing about the producers is, it catches on and it's a wild success. And that's another, we should have that as a classic movie.
That'd be fun too.
Yeah.
And they end up having to pay their investors.
Yes.
But they've got investors for 312% of,
Right. So they can never.
Right.
Yeah, and then some of the other classic movies that I'm just promoting that perhaps we could do is The Best Years of Our Lives, which
Ooh.
is a wonderful post-World War II movie, just an amazing classic. And then, of course, the Jamaican movie The Harder They Come, which would have subtitles because nobody can understand the patois, right? And then, just some of these are...
I'd like to see Exodus.
Oh, man, Exodus with Paul Newman. Oh, what a great movie. Yeah, that's
been a long time ago.
Yeah, that's an epic picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, we just saw The Longest Day with Sal Mineo.
Yes.
And Sal Mineo is plays one of the young fellas
Yes.
in Exodus.
Yes. Yeah. And Paul Newman, I mean, I'm just such a big Paul Newman fan. And
Yes, you should be.
Yes, I am. And, you know, he's just, throughout his whole career, when he was young and gorgeous, when he was middle-aged and gorgeous, one of my favorite movies of his.
I think there seems to be a common theme here.
Oh, man, but he was a fabulous actor. And
Not a bad race car driver either.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But he, there was a movie called The Verdict, which I will watch anytime it comes on, where he plays an aging, kind of dissolute lawyer who takes on a case that is unwinnable and wins it. Yeah, and Charlotte Rampling, who later on became a beautiful character actress, but she was a very femme fatale type of person. That would be a great classic movie to show as well. There's just so many of them, and we should probably have them every weekend.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I know.
I like that idea.
I would be so there.
He's got all those theaters. He's got 6 theaters.
I know, and really,
Well, the bottom line is we all got to get out and support the local theater. They do so many great things for the community. They always have all
Blood
kinds of
drives.
Yes.
And so, I mean, you know, we need to get behind them like they get behind us.
Yeah, really.
Good stuff.
So, yeah, and you know, if you go into the vestibule of our theater, you know, they have old pictures of old Payson. They have plants, 2 of which I donated.
Yay!
Wow.
They have big old plants, right? Craig is like
Fertilized with some stuff I donated.
Man, he has had Craig, not just a gifted theater guy, but a gifted green thumb guy.
Really?
Oh man, he's
Revived him.
Oh, he totally makes these things come to life.
Huh.
So yeah.
Well, again, you can always find out what's playing and when it's playing by just logging on to sawmilltheaters.com. And don't forget, tomorrow, the first Saturday of the month, is the classic movie Saturday. For $5 at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, you can watch
Independence Day
with Will Smith. I mean, that was a good movie.
And
there's a lot of really good social commentary in Independence Day. I mean, from the
And still relevant, I think.
I mean, from
even more so.
all kinds of
Right.
stuff
Right.
that you know in there is woven into the fabric of the movie. You know, there's a whole segment there about a ne'er-do-well but loving father.
It's been in the tank a little too long.
Right.
But he finally gets a chance to say, hey, up yours, and he does it.
So you know, there's you know the kind of dysfunctional family kind of stuff, but a family that's chock full of love, even if it is dysfunctional.
Right.
There's another one about a new age space case who makes just a terrible miscalculation on the intent of the aliens, and that is pretty awful. And you can see exactly how easily that mindset could fall into this particular error. And it's not just an exciting movie with tremendously good visuals.
And some good actors.
Yes.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
And when Goldblum and Will Smith are in the alien ship in their own ship parked inside, and all of a sudden the window goes up. That's just one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. I kind of enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, and remember also, Sunday is Independence Day.
Right.
And what everybody needs to do, and I'm not kidding, I mean, you need to get yourself a copy of the Declaration of Independence and read it out loud to yourself, which is what I do every July 4th.
And they do it at Green Valley Park in the morning.
If you can get through that thing, especially that last section, without crying, you have a heart of stone, and I don't want to know you. Really, no. I mean, the Declaration is extraordinary.
It's an amazing document.
And if you look at the structure of it, you know,
as a teacher,
yeah,
as an English teacher,
they go through why we are doing this. You know, what are the transgressions that the king has done? And you know, you look at the list, and it's not dated.
Right?
It's not
And that's
dated.
the perspective from a teacher.
Yep.
She's also a yogi, so she wants you to read it in the downward dog position. Anyway, that's all the time we have. We appreciate you joining us every Friday morning. We're here with the Hometown Movie Guys. Come back again.